Now, looking at the Venus Dasha according to Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, and just to stress, as we've gone over in previous videos, when you're in the Dasha of a planet, the natural indications of that planet are more likely to be made present within your life. For good, if that planet is well supported and under the influence of benefics. Maybe negative if under the influence of malefics or in difficult positions. And we can see this through the first verse about Venus Dasha, verse 78, where it says, "Now I will describe the effects of the Dasha of Venus, who is the incarnate of intoxication, ecstasy, delight, and pride amongst all of the planets." Which means that during a Venus Dasha, you may have to attend to various situations that fall under these categories, again, for the positive or the negative, depending on the situation of Venus itself. Parashara goes on to say that should Venus be in his sign of exaltation, in his own sign, Kendra or Trikona, there will be during his Dasha acquisition of fancy clothes, ornaments, conveyances, cattle, or expensive property is what cattle can relate to in this day and age, and land. Availability of sweet preparations every day, recognition from the sovereign, luxurious functions of songs and dances, by the benevolence of goddess Lakshmi. If Venus be in his Mula Trikona during his Dasha, there will definitely be acquisition of a kingdom, attainment of high position in government, acquisition of a house, birth of children and grandchildren, celebration of marriage within the family, attainment of a high position like commander of an army, visits of friends, recovery of lost wealth, property or kingdom, reinstatement of a high position. All these things which are related to, specifically, the planet Venus. Luxuries, songs, dances, sweet preparations, fancy clothes, ornaments, conveyances, celebration of marriage. If we know what Venus represents, then we know that these are specifically related to that planet. So, being in a trine, in an angle, or a Kendra, being in Mula Trikona, we will see these things come to pass during a Venus Dasha, with the consideration that it is supported within the birth chart itself, and that transits trigger it particularly. So Parashara goes on to state about Venus. If Venus be in the 6th, the 8th, or the 12th, there will be during his Dasha enemy relations with kinsmen, distress to wife, losses in business, destruction of cattle, and separation from relations. Should Venus be in the 4th, as Lord of the 9th or the 10th, there will be during his Dasha attainment of rulership of a country or village, performance of pious deeds like building of reservoirs, temples, and giving grains in charity, availability of sweet preparations every day, vigor in work, name and fame and happiness from wife and children. Similar are the effects of Venus in his sub-periods. If Venus be the Lord of the 2nd or the 7th, 2 Marika houses, there will be during his Dasha physical pains and troubles. To get alleviation from those troubles, the native should perform the Mrityunjaya Japa in the prescribed manner and give in charity a cow or female buffalo. So we can see some of the potential difficulties during the Venus Dasha, and that one of the ways to pacify Venus, to help support that, is to consider the Mahamrityunjaya Japa and possibly charity, such as giving away a cow or a female buffalo. And I've actually told clients to do that before. If you go to, I believe it's heifer.org, heifer.org, you can donate farm animals to people who need them. And each planet has a particular animal that you can donate to help appease that planet during its Dasha. And maybe we'll get into that a little later on, although I do believe it is covered in the Astrological Principles 3 class, where we talk about remedies and how, if remedies are going to be effective, and how to know if they're going to be effective, and which remedies to give and prescribe based on your particular chart. So if you have an interest in that, consider that MP3 download class. Now, I will go on to some other things in the next video to kind of tie up some loose ends in regards to the dashas, because I do believe there are some points we have to understand. But remember, typically, dashas of benefic planets most of the time work better just by the very nature that they're benefic. Now, it is going to depend on what is your ascendant, because it may be that Venus rules over your 6th house, or that Venus rules over your 11th, or it may be that Jupiter rules over your 8th house. And so sometimes we can see some difficulties during these dashas depending on what your ascendant is. But the baseline will typically be benefic planets give benefic results. If those benefics are in difficult situations, well, you might expect more than you get, which can make it seem bad. Or it could just be terrible, because maybe that planet is severely starved by its enemies through Vimshottari avashtas, or in really difficult positions throughout Vargas in the chart itself. And malefics, they can give good results if well placed, although they're going to make you work hard for it. So we need to remember that. So thank you very much for tuning into this first part of chart interpretation and considering the dashas. I encourage you to watch all the videos in this series. The next section, we might have a little intermediary kind of tying this together, but the next session will look at houses, how to judge houses within the chart, some general principles from Sarvarta Chintamani, and you can apply that to these dashas in the sense that if you're in a Venus dasha, and Venus is in the 2nd house, or rules over the 2nd house, or has an impact on the 2nd house, then you can look at the video that we will be doing on understanding the 2nd house and principles of the 2nd house to see how can the dasha be refined in regards to its potential. Okay, so thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll be in touch soon.